Good morning, everyone. Welcome back into the AM show. Now, our next guest is the creative mind behind some of today's most engaging live entertainment experiences. As founder of Edvin Ortega Productions, he brings festivals, theme parks, and events to life with unique interactive shows. And he's also the driving force behind the hit tribute band Larger Than Life, who we will get to meet a little bit later on in the show. So without further ado, please welcome Edvin Ortega.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Hey, welcome. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Yes, we're so excited to have you here. I mean, I am a baby of the 90s. I think Z's a baby of the 90s. And so whenever we get to talk about just great iconic bands from back then and seeing how what you're doing right now is kind of bringing that to life and just making people so happy with your performances, I'm just very happy to have you here. Wow. So before we get into everything that you're doing with your production company and with Larger Than Life, take us back to the beginning, because you actually are not a native to New York, right? Where were you born?
I was originally born in Cuba.
You're born in Cuba. Yeah. Wow. And how was living in Cuba and growing up in Cuba, how did that influence your musical experience and your taste for music?
Well, what's funny is, in Cuba, you really just you're limited to what music you get. You really only get the big artists. So, Michael Jackson, ABBA, yeah. Things like that. And of course, on the Latin side, Luis Miguel, things like that. So I've always loved pop music, popular music. I was always very shy as a kid. So everything I'm doing now, never thought it was possible.
Wow.
But it is.
Yeah. Now, were you always performing and entertaining growing up? Were you that kid that always had to say, Mom, look at me, look at me?
No, you know what? I felt that inside. I always wanted to. I always had a little inkling of wanting to do something, of wanting to perform, but I was always so shy. So shy. And growing up in Cuba, really there was two things that were sort of suggested to me or sort of, when you grow up, you will do one of these two things. One was either be in sports, so play baseball or box, right? Or two, my mom wanted me to be a surgeon.
There you go. Yep.
She used to tell me so one day when I get old, you do a free plastic surgery on me, and that's it, That's, so that always stayed in my mind. So I never, it was always inside. It was always sort of I wish, oh wow, this looks interesting. But never ever in a million years did I actually do anything before really becoming a teenager in New York.
Wow.
Yeah.
So as you transition to New York, because I'm even thinking, a lot of times you hear about people who are performers that they say, hey, I did this talent show at this point, and then that's what kind of sparked it. Did you have anything like that happen?
So it was two things that happened. So we leave Cuba. We spent 2 years in Panama, right? Because we were supposed to stop in Panama, sort of a transitional, almost like a connection flight.
Gotcha.
As we're in Panama, war breaks out.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah. So we get stuck there for 2 years, and then eventually, through many processes, we were able to finish the trip to New York. Now, while in Panama, I discovered telenovelas, which are the Latin soap operas.
Of course.
And in some of those, you would always have the heartthrob guy that would kind of be acting and singing and stuff like that. And I was always like, okay, that's really cool. Put that in the back burner. Make it to New York, finally get into high school, everything like that. And I'm walking by this room and I'm hearing singing, I'm hearing dancing, I'm hearing things. It was the high school talent show. I walked by that room 3 years in a row without having the not fear of walking in and auditioning.
Wow.
And finally, my senior year, I walked in, I knocked on the door, and I said, hey, I would like to audition for the talent show. I have a group I brought with me. And we did the talent show, got in, won first place at the time.
Wow.
And till this day, with everything that we've done, that is still, I would say, one of the highlights of my life.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, that is incredible.
Just getting that courage, right?
So
Courage.
Yeah, there you go.
Before then, so you were in this incubation stage where because you were locked and loaded by the time you knocked on that door.
Right.
So tell me about how that worked. You walked in there, you had a full army with you, and you're all ready. How did that happen?
Yeah, well, so I'm in high school, and I hear the first song I ever heard, the first boy band song I ever heard, which was Quit Playing Games with My Heart by the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
And I just, first of all, I didn't even know who was singing. I thought, what does that sound? That is pop, the pop that I know, the Michael Jackson type of pop, but a little bit different. What is that? So that inspired me, and now as I'm walking around high school, during lunch, I'm hearing all the girls are listening to this. So then, of course, as the Cuban gentleman that I am, I thought, wait a minute, if we do a group, some of these girls might want to say hi to us. So, like, typical rock star move, that was sort of the first sort of like push.
Yeah.
And I met this kid, Billy, back in the day, one of my best friends back in the day, who had a gorgeous, beautiful boy band style voice. And I am, sort of having a conversation with a classmate, this girl classmate. He comes over and just starts singing randomly, and I could tell her head goes. And I thought, that's it.
Yep.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's the mise en piece. Let's get everybody now together and off we go. So once I got that crew together, which we auditioned people in the staircase of the high school.
Wow.
So I would be like, all right, next one, come on down, okay? And we put a little group together, knocked on that door finally and said, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And you had the crew. Wow. So you always had like that producer mentality, kind of like of you kind of wrangling things, putting on an event, getting the right people together. Did that come natural to you?
I felt like it always did. I always felt like I always thought, let's get to the finish line. I never consider myself to be, the most talented or the best dancer, the best singer, nothing like that. That was never my thinking. It was always, let's get to the finish line. What do we need to get to the finish line? And I learned that that's part of what production does. It's, we have the vision, and then it's like, how do we make that vision happen?
Yeah. How does it all come to light now?
Yeah,
How do
exactly.
we show off what our talents are? Now, speaking of showing off your talents, so let's talk about going from that high school audition to then actually being on some of the biggest stages, performing with some of the biggest bands. Tell us about your experience with NSYNC, with 98 Degrees. What did you do? What was that like?
So that was honestly like a dream come true. Again, performing on that high school stage, so then it was never a thought. It was just kind of like, okay, this is sort of the peak. And we just kind of rebranded. After I left high school, I got into acting. Did like Orange is the New Black, Gotham, a couple like the typical New York television shows.
Wow.
And that gave me the courage again to sort of revisit the high school days and said, well, when was the time that I felt the best, that I was performing my best? What did I really love doing? And it went back to the boy band. It went back to that. So many years later, I again had auditions and started bringing people in, and it kind of just took off, it snowballed. We got a chance to do a 90s night at a place in Long Island, and it just kind of snowballed. It just kind of took off. That led us eventually to performing with Jeff Timmons from 98 Degrees, Lance Bass, Joey Fatone. We ended up in Cancun with Joey Fatone doing a private event. So from my head to being so nervous and so shy about the high school talent show to now be in Cancun with Joey Fatone doing this big corporate event where he's coming out and he's singing the songs with us and dancing with us is just like,
Oh my gosh. Look, you did it.
yeah, we did it.
You made it happen.
Yeah, oh my gosh,
Oh,
it was just
wow.
unbelievable. It's like, I always say it's like an American dream, like that happened,
Wow. Can you tell us about what, because a lot of times it takes that one moment, right, to get going. Just like you said, okay, there was a talent show. What was that first, do you remember your first booking, like after you kind of, you jumped into acting, which is fantastic as it is, you got your confidence, and now you have this first kind of booking that begins this snowball. Do you remember what that first one was?
Absolutely, yeah. It was, I want to say it was over maybe 12 years ago or something like that. It was at a place that doesn't even exist anymore. It's called Fontana's in New York City.
Okay.
We booked our first sort of big show there. We had a live band, the whole thing. That event led us to then get into the ears of 98 Degrees and everything like that. Jeff Timmons was doing a little bit of a sort of solo tour. He invited us on to that, and that just really kind of snowballed everything from there, because we kind of thought like, oh, wow, we could do this. Like, this could be a thing that we do. And just started getting on the, at the time, phone book. Literally the yellow book, like, hey, would you guys be interested in a 90s tribute, a boy band tribute? And literally just went from bar to club to theater to casino to festivals to corporate, and just kind of on and so on.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
And I mean, you guys are crushing it. We have some footage of you guys up on the screen from We Are Larger Than Life. Look at you guys go here. And there are a lot of screaming fans in the audience. I mean, what is it? What do you think it is about this music? What do you think it is about your band in particular that is just able to connect with the audience so much?
Sure. Well, it comes from the heart. 100%. Like it's passion. It's not put on. It's just what we love to do, and we try to attribute the music to the best of our ability and respect it. It's not like a parody. It's not like a jam band. It's a true tribute to it. We love that stuff. I think it brings everybody back to a better time. Like when you talk about Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, New Kids on the Block, Temptations, it's all feel-good music that I honestly don't think we have enough of anymore. So I think it's good to take you back to your high school, junior high school days, everything like that, and feel like you're in a place where now like we're all in this together, we're all singing the songs together. We remember what we felt back then.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it's like those songs have lasted the test of time as well. Like they're just still so iconic. Now, guys, I know we've been talking a lot about it. We actually do have a clip of you guys performing, and we are going to be seeing ourselves a live performance here in studio. But just get everyone excited. Let's see you guys live on stage. Let's check it out.
They covered all the #1 hits. The band was fantastic.
I mean, the most iconic dance there. What is it like when you go up on stage and you're able to just crush those performances?
Oh man, I'm assuming it feels like Beatlemania. The closest to it as I can feel. I mean, you kind of get the nerves going a little bit, and then you get out there. And we usually do, when we do our full show, we kind of start with a little hyping off the stage just to see how the crowd is. And when you hear that roar, it's like, okay, they're ready. Let's go. So
I love that.
Oh, man.
Now, how you guys, it seems like, going from, there's the Lion King rendition, and, you're going into Bye Bye Bye. There is this range of a set list. How do you guys choose what to pick, and does that change as you perform from place to place?
Yeah, so what's funny is this show originally started as a 20-minute sort of park show. It's like something you would see at a Six Flags, at a, Disney type of stuff.
Okay.
But it got so popular that we extended it to an hour. Then it was an hour and a half. Then it was, an hour and 45. Now it's 2 hours. Now it's 2 hours and a half. Wow. So by doing that, now we go a little bit outside of the boy band and go a little more, sort of big 90s songs.
Yeah.
Or we'll go a little like, all right, we'll throw a little top 40 in there that, like Justin Timberlake, something that's relatable. So it's just been growing. But originally it was supposed to be just a 20-minute, sort of fast, hard-hitting, boy band tribute. Wow. And it just kind of took on a life of its own.
Wow.
Incredible.
Yeah, there's a big difference, 20 minutes to 2.5 hours. So are you up there for 2.5 hours performing, or do you guys rotate some guys in and out to take some breaks in between?
No, it's us. I mean, we have a couple of other, team members in the cast. We call it a cast, is, rotate people sometimes. Somebody can get sick or something. But it's us, up to 2.5 hours. We prefer to be up there that long because if you take a break, then your body kind of cools down, and then you have to restart again. And we're sort of jumping the whole time and running around and doing all kinds of stuff. So it's better just to say, all right, we'll go 2.5 hours straight.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible.
That's hard. That's challenging. That's not easy, guys. You really have to prepare for that and stamina. Do you guys work out a lot? Yeah, because I sing for 2 seconds and dance, and I'm like, all right, Z, call commercial.
It's hard. But I think there's no way to really prepare for this show, like at home. You kind of just have to be doing it. So that's why we take on so many different events, just because this is not a show where, let's say, I can sit at home and practice by myself or go to the gym. You have to be doing the show to be able to have the reflexes and everything like that you need.
Sure.
So we're just like, we'll do it. We'll take that show on. Yeah, no worries.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And so do you guys have, aside of that, so are your rehearsals essentially, are you just saying, listen, we're going to book and we're going to get back into, this is riding a bike for us. And so as we book shows, this is our cardio, this is our rehearsal time, this is all in one, all encompassing. Is that kind of how it is?
100%. It always gets a little tricky like around January, February, because it's the winter and it's always a little bit slower like in general girl in the tribute business.
Yeah.
So it's always like, oh guys, hey, we have our first show coming up in the month. We need to just do like a random public show just to kind of get back into it. That's always hard. It's like, okay, okay, here we go again,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And
Do you guys have a recurring show that you do maybe like every year that you're like, listen, this one is going to be crazy. When we go to this location, we know that they're going to be with the glow sticks. They're going to be throwing hats on stage. This is going to be insane.
We have a lot of special shows like that. There's one show I think that comes to mind that's like sort of special in the heart. So we do an organization called Best Buddies.
Okay.
Which is for kids, and we usually go out there once a year, once every couple of years, and it's just they bring all the kids, and they have special needs and things like that, and they just love it, and they'll get the glow sticks and do the whole thing, and they're cheering. And last time we were there, we actually got to rise from under the ground in the theater, so it was totally like that moment. And I appreciate that the gentleman who hired us, we were at the theater, and the director there was like, no, we don't really want to utilize this, and he was like, no, it's a boy band. You have to utilize it. You have to come up.
Right.
So literally I've never done that in my life. We came up from the ground all the way, just feeling like iconic, right? Just coming up, and the crowd lights going crazy, the smoke. All the kids were just loving it. So I would say, I think for all of us, that's a show that's close to our hearts.
Yeah. What a moment. Coming from the ground and up. Oh, that is so iconic. That's so cool. Good for you for being able to just kind of make people happy, and you have a passion for doing it as well. I think that's beautiful when you can pair the two together. Now, speaking of passion, clearly you're very passionate about making sure that your sound and what you're putting out there is perfect for the audience. And you've expanded not just from being the larger than life group, but you now manage other groups through your production company, Edvin Ortega Productions LLC. So what was the transition from, okay, I'm having a successful band, we're doing this as a tribute band, now I think maybe I can expand and help other people become tribute artists?
Yeah, so it's a lot went into that. One was the company originally was called Larger Than Life Shows. But what happened was the boy band show got so popular that people didn't know there was a difference between that actual show and the entertainment company. So that's why we started Edvin Ortega Productions, to kind of separate that. Two things kind of inspired me to do that was, one, my first ever paid live performance that I booked was a theme park where I was a singer-dancer. It was Playland Park in Westchester.
Yeah.
And I left there after 2 years feeling like, wow, this is great. I get paid for this. And mind you, I was getting paid like I think $20 a day or something. It was like that. But you couldn't tell me anything. I was the happiest,
Yeah.
And I left there thinking like, it'd be great, like if I got to do that one day, like run a company that would put on those kinds of shows. So we had that idea, the boy band gets going, now we get to this place where we have clients asking us for other things. So now we get, we're like, sure, we can do some things. We have an ABBA show, we have the Taylor Swift show. I recently I got married, and my wife is the band leader for our Latin show. Wow. So we do a big Latin tribute to all the Latin icons. So that's been a big part. And it was important for me to also have something that, touched on that music.
Sure.
Because, again, it's all heart.
Yeah.
So that's it. I mean, from there, it just, you get a call. Hey, can you guys do this? Like, well, yeah, sure. One of the guys from the boy band, Chris, I mean, he's been like literally on every production that we've ever done, from like a Disney kids production to like a Wicked thing that we do now, to the boy band, of course, to everything else. So, we try to keep it all sort of in the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Doing a lot. Wow.
That is incredible. That is incredible. So how many iterations? You mentioned there's these subsets. You have the Latin subset. You have, of course, the Taylor Swift tribute. You guys with larger than life. Do you have, how many different iterations are there that exist?
Sure. So we have about 10 sort of big shows, 10 different themes. And I think our most populars are the boy band, Taylor Swift, Latin, and all the kid stuff that we do.
Yeah.
The kid stuff sometimes we put together. Sometimes they'll want like, hey, have you guys come out and DJ and do a couple of songs. We'll do that stuff too.
Gotcha.
Because for us, it's really just, it's really always delivering the same thing, which is interaction.
Yeah.
Energetic interaction, friendliness. And I always tell people, like, scientifically, you're happier if you're up and moving around and dancing. So for us, that is always the goal.
Yeah.
It's like, let's get everybody just up and dancing, putting their hands up and yelling. We know that they're going to feel happy.
Sure.
And that's going to spread. And that's, part of our mission.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's a beautiful mission to have. It really is. And speaking of up and dancing, putting your hands up, that's exactly what I want to do. I've so loved chatting with you, but now I want to see you guys in action. That's exactly what's going to happen. So you guys are going to sing an a cappella song for us and then show us a little choreography as well, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm so excited. There is so much more to be had, so don't go anywhere. We are just getting started. Don't say bye, bye, bye just yet. We'll be right back. I'm so excited.